Hi everyone, my name is Oscar Gresh. I am the operations crew leader here at Mural Arts. Over the course of 40 years, Mural Arts has installed over 4,000 murals. One thing we've learned is that no two walls are the same. We're here to show you how to plan for real-world situations when choosing a site and installing a mural.
So we're gonna hop in a car and we'll see you guys at sites. Let's do it. Whenever I'm going out to evaluation and going through a checklist first, do I have my writing booklet, tape measure, wheel measure, lasers, all of that in check. Today we got a few sites lined up. There's a lot of really great notes to take from the work that's going to be conducted.
When I arrive to a site, the first thing that I do is I start looking for obstructions, looking for things that could be problematic. One of the first things that I'm looking for is if there's electrical wires near the wall, that could be an extreme hazard. If there are, we'll call the electric company to come out and then they can wire cap it, which is putting a protective barrier around the wire, which allows us to paint without fear of getting electrocuted.
We've just arrived at the first location. This is between 20th and Cuthbert. This is the wall we're gonna be evaluating. Any obstructions at all need to be considered prior to install. As you can see, there's some obstructions. It's a parking lot. So those are some issues that we're gonna have to consider. You don't have much wire cappings. If you can get the cars out of the lot, then you have this beautiful open space, and that'll affect what sort of equipment that we're gonna use in order to access the wall.
Another pro is the scale of the wall. When you're doing murals, you want the best visibility that you can get. This would be great for that. The cons that I would see, you could tell this wall has been tagged quite a few times. There's multiple coats of paint, so there's a lot of potential for that to happen even after you installed the artwork.
You do have this efflorescence. Essentially, water's moving through the wall. And it creates a white, hard, rock-like texture. It can be quite difficult to remove. So what I'm doing here now is I'm going to do a rough sketch of the wall that we're going to be measuring. I'm going to go ahead and get this measurement. This is a laser pointer. It uses a scope. The laser is being shot up straight up to the top. It takes a measurement from the bottom of the device to the top, and it shows you the total height. So I got 21 foot 11 inches, and then I flip the device here to get the height from the ground up. It's an extra 4 foot and 4 inches.
So I'm gonna use the measuring wheel. So with this, we can get a measurement of distance. All right, so now we're gonna use the tape measure, most old school way, in my opinion, the most accurate way. So typically when we're done measuring a wall, we'll take photographs, we can plug in our data onto the photograph, or we can do a mock-up of the wall and plug it in just to make it nice and clear for artists so they can see. But we also recommend that the artists come out to the wall, do their own assessment, because they'll know what they're looking for on the wall and how they want to prepare their artwork.
We're at another site here. This one is clearly not a great candidate for mural making. Some of those reasons include moisture in the wall surface.
We got it peeling off of the wall. We got the effervescence all over the place. It's leaking right now. I'm feeling some drops on the shoulders, which is disgusting.
The primer won't adhere well. It'll be very difficult for paint to cure. Whenever the temperature drops, it actually causes the paint to leak a little bit, so you'll have some drippage.
I wouldn't recommend this site to my worst enemy. So this is a National Historic Site, so there are some challenges here.
We have brick exposed and also stucco. The brick being a natural component of the wall and what we're trying to preserve.
Sometimes we want to preserve the wall and not paint directly on it. In that case, we use an aluminum composite paneling. We're able to paint directly on that paneling and not on the wall surface itself.
The stucco area was resurfaced recently, so it looks very good.
On the right-hand side, you have a new build flashing. On the left-hand side is a little bit older. Those are the end caps on tops of the buildings that help keep water off of the wall surface. They both look in great condition, so lots of opportunity for different artists to play with different materials. It is quite an open site. There are no electrical issues. To me, it's like an ideal situation.
We have this cinder block wall with a lot of little things protruding.
There's a camera up there, lighting fixture, doorway here, lots of public coming in and out. You do want to consider where the placement of certain objects are, because they can show up in the design of your mural and could affect where you place certain figures, forms.
And one thing that makes this a good wall is the cinder block is clean, flashing, cornices, all of those things are well maintained. It's a gym, so people run past a lot.
The biggest challenge is the public access. You always have to consider things that could fall on bystanders, so that's something to constantly be aware of while you're up on a wall.
Parachute cloth could be installed on this wall, or it could be direct paint, so a very good wall overall. So we visited a few sites. We've now seen walls that are good for installs. We've seen walls that are not so good. Now we know what we're looking for in mural sites.
Hopefully this means that you can find your own mural sites, that you can conduct your own evaluations and take that deep dive into making your own mural projects.
Hi, I'm Dave McShane, community muralist at Mural Arts. Now that you have the digital mock-up, you can make the design for the wall, which takes us to the final step of actually installing the mural onto the wall itself. We're here at the Stephen Decatur School in Northeast Philadelphia, and we're about to install a mural that was painted on cloth, and we're going to glue it like wallpaper to this wall over here. With community participation, we could have kids paint the cloth on tabletops in the shade and then adhere the cloth to a wall that might be difficult both texture-wise and to reach all the way up. This wall is a cement wall with a stone aggregate. It's a great wall visibly. It faces the playground, it faces the rec center next door, but it's got this texture and there's a ton of these little pits in there. So it makes it less ideal to paint directly on, especially because my style is very graphic and has hard edges. It also isn't perfectly square. There's a foot of slope on the top edge. So normally I would start from the top down, but because that edge is slanted, we're gonna start in this bottom corner, make sure everything's square. There's a lot of supplies that you'll need in order to do this technique. Standard drop cloths to protect anything that trips onto the ground. I always bring a copy of the mural. This is what it'll look like. And I have the sheets numbered so I can double check to make sure that when I'm doing each sheet, it matches what it should look like on the diagram. We always wear gloves because we're working with this super thick gel, and it's good to get the extra thick kind. I came in and patched with a little bit of Ready Patch, which is a product that you can get at most paint stores. We're gonna roll gel on the back of the cloth. The gel is super thick. It's like so thick it won't even like drip off of the roller. Then we also have buckets of water with sponges, and these are our smoothing tools, which are nice and flexible so that as you rake it over the surface, it's flexible enough and won't tear the cloth. And you can get them at any sort of Home Depot type store. We're gonna need to potentially get up, so I have a ladder, and we also have some rolling scaffolding for this job with the board set so that we can stand comfortably at the height we need. So for the first sheet, I'm gonna make sure it's square on the wall. We're doing the bottom corner, so I wanna make sure I measure. It's 43 by 66. And so I'll measure that on the wall as well. Mark that on the wall. I'm gonna use a 4-foot level, and I'm gonna mark lines so that we know where to stop putting the gel on the wall. We'll line it up with the edge of the wall and the bottom. Those should generally be fairly level. So Diana's gonna be rolling out gel on the back of the cloth. Daniel and I will apply gel to the wall itself. Normally on a regular wall, we would roll out the gel on the wall, but we wanna make sure the gel gets in all these little grooves. So we're just gonna use our hands. The reason that we do this is because we wanna avoid air bubbles. Because if the heat in the summer catches an air bubble, the air expands and it'll slowly start peeling sections of the cloth off the wall. So as Diana's rolling, she generally is going to go from the center towards the edge, as close to the edge as she can, and feather out the edges with a brush. So we marked a little arrow so we know which part is the top. So that's the top of the sheet. We want to make sure it lines up on that edge evenly. Use a wet sponge to get it in place and also to get any of the gel that got on the surface off before that dries. We're also kind of working some of these air bubbles out just with the sponge, so we kind of work from the center to the edge. When you use the smoothing tools, easiest to start from the center and kind of work your way over, and then we'll kind of overlap as we go. And you can see we're pushing all this extra gel to the edge and reuse it because the gel is kind of expensive. Okay, and then we're also going to go top to bottom after left to right. Basically, we're making sure that the edge is completely sealed, so you don't see any visible airspace around the edge. And then we have to kind of work somewhat fast because we want to make sure we don't have the glue start setting before we're kind of ready for it. So we want to keep wetting down the surface as well. So I'm going to seal these edges where there won't be a continuous sheet by just taking the sponge, getting all the excess off, and making sure all those edges are filled with gel. We also want to avoid water from getting behind the cloth. So there you go, that's sheet 1. 1 down, 11 to go. We're gonna put another sheet in, we're gonna match the seam. You can do all your touch-ups if the edges don't meet perfectly. That you can do when the gel is still wet, that's not a problem. But you definitely want it to be completely dry before the sealer. I would suggest waiting at least 48 hours, if not longer, before putting on a top coat sealer, because there's little micro pores in the cloth and the paint for the water vapor to evaporate. Now that we've taken you through all the steps from selecting a wall to final installation, we hope that all this information is useful to you as you start your own mural project. Want to learn more about us? Explore our projects, programs, and history at muralarts.org. Public art resources and professional development training at muralartsinstitute.com.